and L back with you on SportsCenter. Yesterday was the news of a blockbuster NBA trade in the works that would send Russell Westbrook to the Lakers, marking the third straight season the former league MVP was traded. And Vegas seems to think that the Lakers getting even more buckets will be pretty significant. Ryan, there's just going to be so many buckets there.
Not enough balls.
So many. They're stacked. They got LeBron, of course, AD, Russell Westbrook now. Their title odds bumped up last night with news of the Westbrook trade. LA back to a 4-1 shot to win it all behind the Nets. Mike and Tony now with more on this and our PTI bonus topic.
All right, Wilbon, whose big three would you rather have, the Nets or the Lakers?
What, I can't write in Milwaukee's? Just won a championship
Sure, go ahead.
a little over a week ago. Tony, I'm not as covetous of these, sort of super team arrangements, these two, as most other people who follow basketball crazily like I do am. I'm just not. I like watching them, obviously. I'm going to love watching them in the new season that's going to start presumably in late October. I think that the Nets, if they can stay healthy, and that's a big phrase for this year too, Tony, I think it takes some time to get used to each other, even if you like each other, and the Nets certainly seem to do that. And I think the Lakers are going to need some time, particularly to play with Russell Westbrook. You know this from Washington this past year. It took him about a quarter of the season, or a third of the season, actually, to get going. And when he got going, my God, it was spectacular. But the time it takes you can finish back up the track, and other teams will have home court, and they don't necessarily need that disadvantage. So I think the Nets narrowly, at least for this year.
So my initial response to this was that I thought it would be the Lakers because the Nets were not healthy. All of them were hurt. And I don't know that all of them come back and they're all healthy. But LeBron's been hurt a lot the last 2 years. Anthony Davis misses a lot of games. Even Westbrook missed games this year. So that's counterbalanced for me. And then I was going to say, well, maybe the Nets because the Nets are so much younger. But they're not so much younger.
They're not.
Durant's going to be 33 this year. Harden will be 32. Westbrook will be 33. And LeBron is 30. LeBron is old, but he's such a great physical specimen. So another counterbalanced argument. The one thing I'll say now, and it probably will sound crazy to you, is I believe at the moment that the West is somehow easier to win for the Lakers than the East is for the Nets.
Ooh. I don't know, Tony. Remember, Denver is going to get back Jamal Murray, and we don't know where some of those other teams are going to land. How good are the Clippers going to be, particularly if Kawhi Leonard is out for a whole year? That may be a feather in your cap in terms of that argument. But I still think the West is so loaded. I mean, Doncic figures to get some help, and Dallas ought to take a step forward. I don't know, but I'm going to take Brooklyn just by a hair. And let's destroy this videotape so I don't have to justify it later.
That's great. You took a hair is something neither you nor I have at the moment.
Don't know much about
so taking them by a hair is very good.
That's right. That's it.
Trade deadline to big trade in the NBA. New big three: LeBron, AD, and Russell Westbrook. When the deal goes through, Lakers are just going to have 4 players with guaranteed contracts on their roster: LeBron, Westbrook, Anthony Davis, and Marc Gasol. But each is a multi-time All-Star with a combined 37 All-Star appearances between them. Still, they have some work to do to round out that entire roster. ESPN Lakers reporter Dave McMenamin joining us now on SportsCenter. Dave, what's been the reaction in L.A. to this new big three of Westbrook, LeBron, and AD?
Well, Jay, certainly this is a unique type of fit they're trying to put together with LeBron at the stage he is of his career, Anthony Davis, ascending talent, and then Russell Westbrook tapering off to some degree. Now, on the plus side, I had a league source tell me that, one, Russell Westbrook will be a great influence around Anthony Davis. His intensity is something that can't be denied and should only rub off on AD to take every single night as if it's a do-or-die situation. Also, as LeBron gets up there, year 18, going to turn 37 years old in December, having Russell Westbrook be able to take innings during the regular season, to borrow a Jeff Passan term, be in there and play full bore will allow LeBron, on some extent, to have moments where he doesn't have to carry the load during the regular season. Now, on the flip side, there are some fit questions. Russell Westbrook shot just 31% from 3 last year. They shipped out Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who was their marquee three-point shooter on their run to the championship in the bubble a couple years ago. And the deal that they didn't do with the Sacramento Kings would have yielded them another shooter in Buddy Hield. So shooting a big question mark here, but certainly as the LA Times reported, LeBron, Anthony Davis, Russell Westbrook all got together on the same page a couple weeks ago at LeBron's house and said, we'll all sacrifice whatever needs to be done in order to make this work.
So we just saw the team's current roster featuring just the 4 players with the guaranteed contracts. So what's the front office plan for filling out the rest of the roster alongside that new big 3?
Well, you start with the guys who they would have the rights to be able to retain to go above the salary cap. Talen Horton-Tucker, they've already tendered a restricted contract, a qualifying contract that would allow him to be a restricted free agent so they can match any deal from the outside. They like him a lot. The second-year guard who they got in the second round a couple years ago. Alex Caruso is a free agent, and that's someone who they've also grown in their program. They would like to keep if the price is right, but they're going to have to look outside, and it's going to be a lot of veteran minimum contract type of guys. The names that you're going to hear are players like Jeff Green, Carmelo Anthony, players of that ilk, guys who have been around a lot who would like to join a potential championship club. And then what do they do with the taxpayer mid-level exception? That's going to be key, vital for what they do. They break it up to try to pay a couple guys above the veteran minimum contract, or do you go after a name like a Patty Mills from San Antonio, a guy with championship experience who is a dead-eye three-point shooter? Because they're going to need to add shooting to this group as much as they're going to just need to add some bodies to fill out a full roster.
Yeah, and LA once again the second shortest odds to win the 2022 title behind Brooklyn. Dave McMenamin, good to see you, bro. Let's go Russell Westbrook by the numbers as he gives LA its new big 3. LeBron, AD, Westbrook combining for 34 All-Star selections. They'd be the second team to have a trio with that many, along with the 2011 Celtics, who featured Shaq, KG, and Paul Pierce. Gives the Lakers 2 of the best playmakers of all time, LeBron and Westbrook, combining for 283 career triple-doubles. Westbrook is the all-time leader in that category, LeBron ranking 5th. There's a question, though, how they're going to fit. Dave just talked about it a bit. Westbrook shooting just over 30% from 3 in his career, the second worst all-time among players with 2,000 attempts in an area the Lakers ranked 21st in last season. All right, we get some other notable picks as we get to the NBA draft last night. Cade Cunningham, Big 12 Player of the Year out of Oklahoma State, went number 1 according to the overall to the Pistons, rather. According to ESPN Analytics draft projections, Cunningham has the best chance to become an All-Star in this year's class. The Rockets selecting guard Jalen Green, 2nd overall. He became the second number 1 overall recruit to bypass college. He had 30 points and 7 assists in his lone G League playoff game. USC's Evan Mobley heading to the Cavaliers with the 3rd pick. The big man becoming the first player to win Pac-12 Player of the Year, Freshman of the Year, and Defensive Player of the Year in the same season. Toronto grabbing Scotty Barnes out of Florida State with the 4th pick. Barnes holding opponents to 25% shooting as the primary defender on jump shots last season. That was the best mark in the ACC. And rounding out the top 5, Jalen Suggs going to the Magic. Suggs averaging a D1 best 24 points a game against top 10 teams last year and hit that remarkable buzzer beater in the Final Four against UCLA. Here's some other notable picks. The Warriors had 2 of the top 14 picks, including Jonathan Kuminga, who was originally the number 1 recruit in the 2021 class before reclassifying to 2020. The draft pick traded to Washington for Russell Westbrook became Kentucky forward Isaiah Jackson. And the Pistons picking up Wooden Award winner Luke Garza late in the night.